r/ask Reddit. What is an adult problem you were not prepared for? Back hurting just from sleeping wrong. And from sitting wrong and from doing housework and yard work and from picking up dogs or kids or whatever life requires. Never reach for anything in the back seat, especially if it is just a little bit further. You didn't stretch before your workout? Sorry. Back pain for days. You overstretched before your workout? Sorry. Back pain for days. You perfectly stretch before your workout? Sorry. Arm pain for days. How often you have to clean to maintain a clean house? Not only clean, maintenance in general. I just found spot of mold in my garage and have to pull out what feels like half a wall. My husband just pointed out tonight that we have a damn vine growing through a window and is now attached to the living room ceiling. It's an old house, but what the hell? I'm so glad there are machines to do the dishes. That's so excessively repetitive. I would have gone mad if it didn't exist. First rule of independence. Don't put it down. Put it away. The increasing speed of passing years. Having nieces only makes the problem worse. Their age and the perceived number of years past doesn't align at all for me. Time is relative. 1 year is the equivalent to 20% of a 5-year-old's life. That's a good chunk. 1 year is 5% of a 20-year-old's life, and finally 1 year is 1.25% of a 80-year-old's life. Or not so much. The more experience a person has in life, the less time a single experience is in the overall amount of time in their life. Take a fruit fly for example. A fruit fly on average will live 40 days. To a human, that seems like an extremely short amount of time. Imagine being born, growing up, finding a mate, living and dying in just over a month. Tell a fruit fly humans live on average to be 82 years old and they would think we were gods. A fruit fly experiences time in a very different way than a human. Dealing with your parents acting like children. My parents have always acted like children. However, as a child I was blind to this. Now as an adult I realize how immature and lost my parents actually are. I realized my mom, I am an only child, was just a big kid herself 20 years ago. What shocks me is that almost everyone's parents become younger when they don't have kids to raise. This includes myself. I've got the book for you. Running on Empty by Jonas Webb. Overcome your childhood emotional neglect. Adults never actually growing up. Yeah, this. I used to look at 30-year-olds and be like they got it figured out. Now I am 30. I feel as useless as I did when I was 17. This is a big one for me. I really thought people would grow up, mature. They don't. Too many adults are really just teenagers. Deciding what to eat for 3 meals a day 7 days a week. Me and my wife play this game where we alternate days of who has to choose. If either one of us denies the choice, that person now has to choose. It worked great for a while, but now it has divulged to choosing something we know the other doesn't like, so then now it is their turn to choose. Married life is great. In this direct vein, how expensive cheese is. You have to buy insurance but can never use the insurance or else no one will sell you insurance. Coming into adulthood and learning about insurance in America, it all just feels like a big scam. Duck. Using insurance too. I've been fighting for the last 3 months because my homeowners refuses to acknowledge storm damage to my roof. I swear they've spent more trying not to cover the damage than if they would have just fixed things. Advice to other homeowners out there: never let an insurance adjuster look at your roof before a qualified roofer has, and make sure that roofer is present when the adjuster comes. If their adjuster misses things, they will fight like hell before admitting a mistake. Aging parents. Definitely this one. I still remember being a little kid around 5 or 6 watching The Land Before Time and crying over Littlefoot's mom dying. I cried to my mom saying I didn't want her to go anywhere, and she said don't worry because it's something that won't happen for a really long time. Cut ahead almost 30 years and that time is almost here. I still remember it so vividly, and losing my parents is probably the scariest thing in my life. Seems like time flew by and I'm worried with how quickly it's all moving. Trying to make friends. Being social as an adult is rough, especially when your friends start moving away or having kids. Yeah, my social circle completely disbanded. We were a tight-knit few, but then one moved overseas to be with the love of his life and the other two moved interstate in opposite directions, and being the introvert that I am, I don't find socializing with strangers an enjoyable experience or an easy way to make new friends. I lost my wife of 35 years. There is no way to prepare and really no way to describe that loss. Sorry for your loss. I lost my 25-year-old brother who left behind his 6-year daughter. Life isn't the same when you lose someone you love. I know it's not the same, but I feel yeah. My heart goes out to you. The constant obsessive feeling that I'm fast running out of time to have an enjoyable life even though I'm only in my 20s. Not being able to sleep due to stress. Yet here I lay, exhausted but wide awake. When I was younger I could sleep anytime, anywhere. Pro tip: if you don't fall asleep within 30 minutes, get out of bed, otherwise you'll associate your bed with lying awake. Furthermore, you could actually do something. You're gonna be tired tomorrow anyway, so why not do the dishes, clean the toilet or organize your living room? Just any small task for 15-30 minutes. You'll feel good because you did it. Your bed cools down. So when you get in you have something to be proud of and your bed is cool. This has helped me many times. I've also walked a lot in the middle of the night. Lying awake sucks big time, especially because of stress. But making your home a better place by cleaning and organizing helps a lot. Edit. Avoid screens. Edit 2. To those now lying in bed for way too long. Just get out of it. Eat something healthy. Clean your desk or the kitchen counter or give your dying plants some water. Take a small break from lying awake and try again in 30 minutes. How expensive lamps are. And dining room tables. And kids. And the things kids break. Like lamps. And dining room tables. And other kids. And floor rugs. And couch pillows. $15 to $20 is standard for one pillow. The endless teeny tiny implications of adult freedom. You have your own medical insurance plan now. You need to pick a primary care physician. Okay, who should I pick? Up to you. But like, where should I start? How do I know which doctor to choose? Up to you. How do other people find one? They just pick the one they like. I don't know any of these doctors. I felt like this when I got hired and had to choose withholdings for taxes and what health insurance to choose. No freaking guidance whatsoever. My job is destroying my mental health, but I need a job so I can pay my bills. If I reduce my hours for better work-life balance, I lose my insurance during a global pandemic. This one right in the feels. My doctor has been telling me for about a year and a half that I should really be on disability because of my mental health. But I can't afford to wait for 2 years through the inevitable denial reapply phase. And I also can't afford my income being cut by 75%. So, I'll just be over here, trying to keep my head above water when I really don't know how to swim. Falling in love at an older age but watching life speed by so fast. Wished I'd met her 30 years ago. All the choices you made led you to that love though. Going from having tons of friends to really having no one. Man, you really have to work at friendships in adulthood. I've got 3 proper friends left from school. 2 of them. My girlfriend is really friendly with their wives, so we meet up with all of us. The 3rd dude, excluding his stag do and wedding, I've only seen him 3 times in the last 3 years. Thankfully we met up just before lockdown started. The best friends in life you cannot see for ages, but when you meet up it's like you only just saw them the week before. How expensive living is. I worked all through high school, but my only bill was the gas I put in my car. 30 hours a week on minimum wage goes a long way on shopping sprees and nail salons when you don't have any other expenses. I developed nasty spending habits. Not the value of a hard-earned dollar my parents were hoping for. I'm not in crippling debt or anything, but sometimes having to spend money on groceries or utilities depresses me more than it rationally should. Getting the spending under control has easily been one of the hardest things I've done after buying what I want with no problem for over 4 years. God, it's the worst. Yeah, when you're in high school having a few $100s makes you feel loaded. You can buy whatever game you want and do whatever with friends, but as an adult hundreds of dollars is just enough to buy groceries and gas. How quickly fruits and vegetables actually go bad when you buy them yourself. And you buy them thinking you're going to eat them. Because they are good for you and you know that. Because you're an adult. But there's always something else to eat and no one is making you eat your vegetables. Look up the cartoon panel. Crisper drawers. Where good intentions go to die. In my mind my mama should be about 40. She has always seemed to be so strong, but sometimes I want to fall apart when I see her take several attempts to stand up or make excuses about driving on the interstate. She will be 70 soon, but to me she is still young. I don't know what I'll ever do without her. I lost my mom 8 weeks ago. It's hard living without a parent. She was only 60, but I always thought of her as 42. She died before I had the chance to talk with her one last time. It was very unexpected. Give your mama a hug and tell her you'll drive her down the interstate to get her where she needs to go. Being able to not cook the same meal every day while balancing hundreds of other tasks. I will always admire my mom for how she was able to cook, have a clean house, work 43 hours and help her children do homework, all while taking time to work out at the end of every day. I could mention other common problems like money management and common tasks that I haven't mastered. But what really hit me like a train was the actual transition of adulthood. I'm talking about having to make my own appointments and having to keep tabs on myself instead of handing every single document to my mom. I realized how unorganized I was when I found my birth certificate in the same drawer where I have junk receipts. It's entirely possible to lose your job through no fault of your own. Having others rely on you as an emotional ballast. I can barely stay sane myself, let alone carry the weight of someone else's sanity. When I was young, death seemed very romantic. The idea of everyone being so sad about you being gone and regretting every wrong against you. Now I have way too many responsibilities to die. I have seen how loss really affects the people I love and would never want to subject them to that. Pain. Arthritis is ducking horrible, and early onset autoimmune arthritis is worse than just having an ache in one or two joints. I hurt all the time, everywhere, and everyone just assumes you're faking it or you're a pill popper. I am not going to live another 20 years with this pain like my dad did. And the worst part is when people say you're too young to have arthritis. Yeah, I agree. I'm way too young to have this shit. Still got it though. Having a presentable place and debating myself on why it matters. It always frustrated me when my parents had a guest over and we had to deep clean the whole house. Like if it's my close friend of 8 years visiting. Why do I care what they care about my cleanliness? And yet, every time people are over I find myself cleaning the apartment up for some reason. First thing you say is excuse the mess. Turns out, you get fat from overeating. Bread makes you fat. Losing people, loved ones passing away is the hardest. Then there's the nasty breakdown of personal relationships, family relationships and friendships. Then there's the sad drifting apart that happens when life takes you on a different path to a person you were once really close to. The lack of time for myself. Life is all work, housework, yard work, childcare, bills, emails, phone calls. What's funny is that I have so much more free time now as an adult, single with no kids, that I know of, and it still doesn't feel like enough. No homework, no silly adult projects, renovating bathrooms, etc. No extracurriculars that take up a load of time. And yet every night once I'm done eating dinner it's like damn it, I have to go to bed in a few hours. When you're not in school surrounded by your peers, meeting new people and making friends is much harder and in many cases almost impossible. And dating is a whole other ballgame. Then again, for a lot of us that isn't too different from how high school was anyway. I've found it easier to make friends at work than at school. At work everyone I'm around is more or less like-minded and we have at least one thing in common. In school I was made so miserable by the system that I really didn't connect with anyone. Crippling loneliness and romantic rejections. My heart is just dead, and now I feel empty inside. The snowball effect of poverty. Every major bill or unexpected emergency, $500 plus, takes you back 6 months to a year. It feels like you're on an escalator made of mud. Having to have a genuine purpose in life. There's none. Just enjoy the ride. The utter soul-crushing search for a job. Preparing for retirement. Of course everyone knows they will stop working at some point, but now that I'm 40, it feels like I really need to get it together. Am I going to continue bad habits that negatively impact my health, or will I finally make changes to be healthier later? My new favorite worry: will I really have enough money to retire and live comfortably enough to have a good of quality life? 10 years ago this all seemed so far away. Now, it feels like I'm speeding to the next phase of my life. I'll be working up until noon on the day of my funeral. Cliques and bullies are just as bad in the office as they were in school. As you got older, isn't it easier to call them out? I have no problem with throwing a bully's behavior in their face and watching them try to justify being a donghead. Next time someone says something mean to you, just try it. It's amazing to see a 40-year-old man look completely lost when you ask him why he thinks only poor people eat flatbread and hummus. Like, WTF Greg, it tastes good. It's not my fault your fat ass doesn't understand why everyone isn't drinking Mountain Dew and eating Snickers. Ducking bipedal elephant. Woman hair. Random chin hairs. Popped up in late 30s. I feel betrayed. Medical issues and the costs associated with them. I went from a late 20s guy with no issues other than the occasional cavity to a late 30s guy with spondylolysis, OSA, anxiety, RLS, and hypertension in under 10 years. It's crazy that I am taking medications and trying to improve my health because my doctor said I could die in 20 years if I don't shape up. Seriously, I just want to drink beer, play guitar, hang out with the missus, and maybe smoke some weed now and then, but these last years have hit me like a ton of bricks, and from what I understand it keeps getting worse. Hangovers. When I would drink a lot during college, I would wake up the next and feel totally fine. Thought maybe I was immune to hangovers. Then at some point in my late 20s they started to hit me, and hit me hard. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.